Hello. Welcome back to my cake kitchen. I am Gladys, and over here I make baking and decorating tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. Now in the chat I can see Delaney. Delaney darling, how are you? I don't suppose you expected to see me here because you've been to school and back, and your evening it's probably just started wherever you are. But yes, I'm back. I'm back. When I tell you, every day there is something cake related. If I'm not making cake, I'm talking cakes, I'm doing something cake. I was here earlier. We created a tutorial, the basics of piping and stuff like that. Except I have some cakes going out for Thursday. So I thought I'll come and complete this bake on a live whilst also helping to answer some of your baking dilemmas. So you know what? We're going to bake a vanilla sponge cake whilst also talking about some baker related issues. I will raise some chatter from chat groups that I have found that are relatable. We can unpick those and then talk about some of the real issues bakers go through. And if I have a point of view or an opinion, I'll pass it, just so that if you're a hobby baker, if you're a hobby baker who is hoping to make a transition into running this business, you will know that cake making is fun when you are making it as a hobby, but running it as a business can be wild out here in the streets. So I'm not going to waste your time. Let's just jump into this bake. I'm making a vanilla cake. It's a cake I have made time and again. I have geeked out on the ingredients and everything else. I'm not going to be doing that tonight, okay? It's 10. It's almost 10:30 here in England, okay? I'm tired, but I still want to give you value. So the value has got to be something entertaining, okay? Talk about entertainment. I can bring you entertainment because the entertainment world is buzzing. Who is out here for the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama? Okay, that is entertainment enough. But you know what? We are a baking channel. I love the gossip, but hey, I think it's everywhere. That news about Blake and Ryan is everywhere. I'm tired, okay? So let's just check out of it a little bit. Let's forget about it and let's come to a zen zone. Let me create this as a zen zone, even though my inner like dialogue is like, oh, can we talk about the drama? Okay, can we? But no, we're not I like to say we're not a gossip channel, but we're not, okay? We make cakes, we bring joy to the world, and right now I want to give Justin Baldoni a hug. Tell him not to leave me a message at 2 a.m. After, you know what? After 6 p.m., if you're not my girlfriend who has some pressing issues, don't call me, okay? I'm not picking up, okay? I think my customers are kind of side-eyeing me and listen, that's why you're not picking calls. But Justin Baldoni dropping lively a message at 2 a.m. like he is leaving his lover a message. I can see why Ryan was like, you, I'm going scorched earth on you, so we never have to see you. By the way, that's just by the way, okay? Let's go and bake. What am I doing? If you're just joining the chat, there is Diana. Diana's movie. Okay. Is Delaney still here with us? Delaney, honey. Okay, let's see. 1 second, people. Okay. It seems like I fancy myself a torturous life because I could easily have just done this baking by myself at home and minded my business. But somehow I've decided that I want to do this on a live at 10:30. Oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Let's get to it. So it's vanilla cakes. I'm baking them in 4 5-inch pans over here, okay? The recipe is already up on the channel in many various forms, and I've done it many a time on live session. So like I said, we're doing some baker answering your baking dilemmas, some issues you might be having with baking, some business related queries that bakers are having, okay? So we're doing sort of a cake auntie session where we bring up a subject over there. For instance, over here I am actually in a baking group, So I get to see some real issues that bakers are having. For instance, there's a real issue here where a baker is like, I'm on the verge. I've been advertising every week, but nothing. I'm posting every day on Instagram and TikTok. I have a business page, but there's nothing. I've got equipment to make reels and videos, but don't know where to start. I'm not very techy. It's like people aren't seeing me anymore. I didn't have that problem last year. I've also noticed a few new bakers recently. I just love what I do, but I'm feeling a bit despondent and don't know what else I can do. Does anyone feel this way? Okay, we will be answering this particular question because this is more normal than you would think, especially when you see social media posts about a baker posting a business and all of that. It's a real thing that baking or running your own business goes around in seasons. There's a season where the orders are trooping in and you are super excited and the money is flowing in. And then there's a season where it all goes zip quiet and you're like, God, where is the next payment going to come from? And it seems like this baker has that problem. We're going to talk about it properly, and I'll be handing you tips to manage your expectation in that field. But first of all, let's get this vanilla cake out of the way first, and then we can come back and talk about that. That said, there are a few names here that I can't mention, and I don't even know the country flags. Okay, you know what? I'm old now. Let's get to it, right? So for the vanilla, we have the usual suspect for a vanilla cake. There is margarine here. There is self-raising flour. Where's the sugar? Well, there is caster sugar. Where is vanilla? A vanilla cake without vanilla will be a travesty, wouldn't it? So there's some vanilla here. My vanilla is on its last legs. There are eggs here. Buttermilk. So you know what? Usual suspect for vanilla. Nothing serious here. The recipe I have already discussed time and again on the channel. But like I said, let's get to the cake. Let's get it out of the way. The cake is just a medium through which we can still discuss some baking business inquiries or baking business issues. And then I can hand you some tips there. I have baking. Oh, God. Look at me. You won't believe I've been here all day. I've been talking about cakes all day. I was on a live. We did some piping tutorials. I went away and I've been back again. Can you imagine? I must love cakes that much. Do I? Do I love it that much, or it's just a chance to come and see you guys? The oven is preheating at this point, so I am not going to waste time. I have my Kenwood, is it the Kenwood K-Mix, and yeah, let's make sure this is secure. If you're in the chat, welcome, great to have you, and thanks for your support. There's a lot of you out here who are supporting me, and I'm so grateful to have you. But whilst you're at it, do you want to consider liking the video, please? And do consider joining the community here. We are a positive bunch. We support each other, okay? And you're welcome. Right, so in goes the margarine first, and then we're going to add our caster sugar. And into that, I'm going to mix that together so that it will just combine properly before we cream this. We'll be back tomorrow talking the piping tips again anyway, so don't you worry. This is just a slight detour and a distraction from what we are supposed to be doing. I am looking for vanilla here. You know what? We pour the vanilla here with love, but you can always have the right quantity in the description box for you. Okay? Now I'm using the paddle attachment here, and I'm gonna cream this together for, let's say, 4 to 6 minutes, and then we'll be back to add the eggs right here. So first, It's exactly 10:26. So let's stop this at 10:28 to kind of stir it together and then continue again. All right. Let me just okay. If I'm a little quiet here, it's because this thing gets really loud and I don't want to shout over you. But once it's done, I will be quick talking to you as we are creaming this. Now, next on this here is some egg yolks. If you're just joining me, hello there. Thank you for being here. There is right 4 minutes in and our mixture is coming all together. Okay, so I'm gonna scrape the sides in a little bit and then we're going to let it go again for another 2 minutes sort of before we add our egg yolks. If you're just joining us, hello there. If the mixer starts going, it's going to be noisy, so I'm not probably going to be able to talk to you, but once we're done here, we'll get into a lot of chatter. We do chat over here. Okay. Okay, we've got the mixture together. I'm gonna add the egg yolks into it first. The egg yolks will help bind the butter before we add the whole eggs. Right, having added the egg yolks in the eggs, look at what it looks like here. Because what we're trying to do is get a homogeneous batter. Look at that. Oh, I love the look of this batter. Okay, all right. It makes for a very nice crumb to your cake. You have no idea. Okay, right. So we've turned that in a little bit. For those of you who are just stopping by, hello there. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, I know it's probably late evening for some of you in other parts of the world, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Okay. Whatever you are doing, we are trying to finish this bake here. And I am just adding some eggs into my butter, and that is all done now. Butter all Chronicles. Chronicles, have you been reading your Bible? No, I'm kidding. Chronicles, I'm not making buttercream. I am making a cake, so this is cake batter, but it's not buttercream, but I know what you mean. If you love buttercream, stick around. I am sure there will be, look, we've covered buttercreams here. This afternoon, we were geeking out on buttercream options, okay? Except this evening, we're just making a vanilla cake. So Chronicles, welcome. How are you? Are you new to the group here? Are you new to the chat? And where are you joining us from? It would be lovely if you could tell us where you are joining us from so we can welcome you properly, Chronicles. You know what? It's almost 11 p.m. here in UK time, and I'm still in my kitchen. I want a cup of tea. Let's see. Do I have hot water? I think so. Oh, okay, Chronicles, welcome from Southern USA. Thank you for being here. I hope you're keeping well, Chronicles of Kodapolis. Chronicles, hi. I think your name actually just makes your name is actually a little interesting to me, that's all. But anyway, that aside, it's time to put the self-raising flour in this mix. So we're gonna slow this all the way down so we can add our self-raising flour. Chronicles, thanks for sharing that. It's such an interesting name, but I guess the sentiment behind it matters. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, And thanks for being here. I am Gladys. I love to bake, and my channel is all about baking, okay? Baking and all things cake decorating. So if you like baking in whatever form, you're welcome. You will find something here to do, okay? Okay, so we're trying to mix this batter in, and I've just turned the mixer to a fold function. Seems like I like the torture of my life because I've been here. By the way, if you're just joining us, the fun part is just about to begin. Let's just get the task done first, and then we can get to the fun part where we'll talk about all things cake related dilemmas. If you have questions, I'll answer them for you, and also we can dig a little bit into what is happening in pop culture, okay? It's a mess out here in these streets. It is such a mess. From Blake and Justin. The drama. But if you're here to switch off from all that shenanigans of our world, okay, I won't begrudge you. You just tell me you don't want to hear it, and then we can move on to something else. We will accommodate you, okay? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just try and Google Blake and Justin, okay? Just Blake Lively. It's a whole drama out here in the streets. But let's put that to the side, and let me just mix this batter properly before I bake it. So, oh God, Lordy, let me go wash my hands first. Right. Oh, okay, I've got my hands washed. Right now, let's get this off the mixer. Right, and we're gonna mix this all together properly before we portion it into our cake pan. So this is just bake from scratch vanilla sponge. You'll find there are different ways you can derive a cake sponge. I love this. And there you have it. Okay. Now I have 5-inch pans here that are going to let's see. If you're just joining us, here is a little reassurance to say, don't you worry, just hang in here with us. The fun is just about to begin, okay? Oh. Okay. And there's 20 people in the chat. Normally when I come here, I don't tell anybody. I just show up. And then there's all of you out here supporting me. Thank you. Right. Okay. Okay. The batter has been separated into 3 equal pans. I thought I could do 4, but I don't want to bake them any smaller. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chronicles. Right, Chronicles, you were too kind. Thank you for that. Right, so let's go. Let's go. And let's go. Right. It says right. So we are baking at about 150 degrees C in there, Celsius for that matter. Normally I will put some, you know what, let me do that anyway. I have just put some water at the base of the oven so that it hydrates the warmth in the oven. So yes, now the job is done. The cake is baking. I could literally be gone off this live because now our cake is baking, and then I'll come back and show you the bake. But you know what, we have a little time to kill whilst the cake is baking. So pause. Hello, pause. Many blessings to you. How are you? Great to have you and welcome to the channel. Well, Chronicles, you are very kind. I hope you will find some tips on the channel. Over here, we are very friendly. We are very welcoming. No question too silly and no question too exhaustive. Ask the question. If we know, we can answer it. If I don't know, I'm happy to tell you I don't know, but I'll come back and tell you. And then I can go do some research. We are normal people here. We have a healthy community here. We support each other. If you have a question and you put it in, normally I come here on a live at UK time about 1 p.m, which is about 6 to 7 a.m. in some parts of the US. So I do have like a loyal group and a loyal following that are almost like always chatting in the group amongst themselves. So you're welcome to be a part of the community here and to have our support, and it will be great to have you. Okay, so do consider subscribing. But I did say we are not just baking a cake. Oh, let's look at the timestamp. It's a 11 right now. So by 12 midnight exactly, this cake should be done, because this is baking for about an hour to an hour 15 minutes. That's the bake time for this cake. So I am going to be pause. Is it your first time? Pause. Where have you been? Okay, pause. You're welcome, and thank you for subscribing. Don't just subscribe and go and disappear. Subscribe and ensure that you find you watch the videos, you engage with them. And if you enjoy baking, I think we cover all aspects of the baking experience here. The live tutorials are sort of an invitation into my kitchen, where you get to see the real developing aspects of baking, okay? And it becomes a learning resource for you. So sometimes we do undertake test baking, say when I'm trying recipes or I'm doing something else. I invite you into the kitchen and then we bake and we learn something. At the moment, I'm running a series on piping techniques for beginners. You'll find that in the live session. I was here earlier today at the 1 p.m. mark UK time, 1 p.m. GMT. Except this evening, I just thought I have a lot of baking to do. This is a repeat recipe. I have done it time and again. It's my vanilla cake recipe. It's up here on the channel. So I didn't want to dig in. I thought I might as well just make it fun, because we do chat over here, and sometimes when I have the task to do and the chatting is happening, people are like, let's get to it. But you know what, we have to find balance. We have to be serious about baking, and then we have to have fun. So this evening, I say evening, but it could be morning, it could be afternoon, it could be nighttime, wherever you are. This particular session tonight is more about just catching up, having fun, so I can answer some baking related questions for you guys. So if you're new to baking or you're looking to learn something new, Chronicles and Pause, what is the one thing you are struggling with at this moment in time, that if you had the chance to learn or have the chance to be helped, what help would you require? Just put that in the chat so that I can see if I can provide you some tips to help you. But whilst we're at it, I'm not just a baking channel, I run a baking business. And that part of my life, some days I'm like, oh, why did I do this? So I am just going to jump into some baking business dilemmas, like baking business issues that bakery owners or anyone running a bakery would have, just so that if you're looking to transition into baking, you can have a relatable perspective to some of the things you are likely to face. Hopefully you can solve your problems better and not feel like you are alone. But these are real things that happen. So over here, this is a real life issue that somebody put in a caking group. Obviously I have to keep them anonymous, but here's what they said. She says, I am on the verge here. Poor thing. Poor thing. She's on the verge. Look, sometimes when I'm nervous, I laugh or I smile. Or when I'm feeling so sensitive about something, I break a smile. But this is not even funny, because the woman is saying she is feeling really on the verge. She's like, I'm advertising every week, but nothing. I'm posting every day on Instagram, nothing. TikTok, business page, nothing. I've got equipment for reels and videos, but I don't know where to start. I'm not techie. It's like people aren't just seeing me anymore. I didn't have this problem last year. I have noticed more and more bakers come up recently. I just love what I do, but I'm feeling despondent and don't know what else I can do. Does anyone else feel like this? Honey, I know she's not watching, but I'm here to say, whatever I have just read to you here is normal, okay? If you feel despondent, welcome to the group chat. We all feel that way sometimes, okay? All those pretty cakes you see displayed on other people's pages and all the things you see other people do as though they are busy. Sometimes they are busy because they are busy. It doesn't necessarily mean being busy translates to money. So if you're feeling a little bit down, that's okay. A little reassurance here to know that business goes up in seasons. Some days you fall, some days you rise, and some days you just feel like you don't know what you're doing. But the emergence of social media, oh my goodness, has provided a sort of false hope and false illusion. Running a social business, running your business on social media is a whole skill and task. Just posting. Okay, let me just leave that. I'll come to that in a moment. Pause. Pause says, no, Chronicles. Chronicles says, okay, concerning the question about what you need help with, you say, Chronicles says she likes basic cakes. She can do cookies and muffins and breads, but stink at cakes. Chronicles, be kind to yourself, okay? I mean, I cannot bake bread, and I've been baking cakes for 10 years plus, okay? We all can't do everything. Sometimes what you are good at is spurred by the passion you feel about it. If at this moment in time you want to learn to make cakes, that's okay too. But don't beat yourself down because you can do one thing and not do another thing. Okay? I remember somebody asking me, what's the difference between cupcakes and a muffin? And it took me a moment and a head scratch moment to say, actually, I don't know. I said I don't know because it just occurred to me, whilst I know that muffins and cupcakes do differ slightly in ingredient combination and ingredient ratio and texture, they are similar in many ways. But I said I don't know because I realized that I hadn't baked a muffin before. And then I eventually baked a muffin for my son, some healthy muffins, which I did over here. So to be honest, if you don't know how to make a cake, there are a ton of resources here for you and a ton of resources elsewhere. Like I normally say, over here, we don't gatekeep. We don't. I love to bake, and I'm grateful to be here to bring my passion for baking here, to teach you, inform you, and to help you find your way through. That is if you're just starting. But I'm not the only one. I will make recommendations. So if you are really serious about baking, check out Claire Saffitz. Claire Saffitz. She's a Harvard-educated recipe developer and author. She has a channel on here. She's US based, so you may be able to find her ingredients and techniques and measuring scales and stuff like that relatable. There's Claire Saffitz, there's Erin Jean McDowell. These are all tutors and professionals who simplify baking but also break down the baking process. So take notes of these recommendations, and if you're really serious about baking, go geek up on their channels and find information about their baking processes and recipes. Of course, you can still stick around here. We love you here, okay? But I'm hugely inspired by some of these people. Sugarology, she's one of those good bakers also. She is even like a science-centered baking channel. She's a scientist, I think a biologist, something. She's a scientist of some sort, and I'm not talking an entry-level scientist, like we're talking proper scientist, but she makes baking very simplistic and also breaks down the science of baking in very digestible and understandable form. So check her out also. So there's Sugarology, there is Erin Jean McDowell, there is Claire Saffitz. These are my top 3 people that I will recommend to any beginner any day. Look, if you left my channel and I found you on any of those channels, it's still a win for me, because those tutors and creators are amazing at what they do. So Chronicles, if you're just learning to make cakes, please do check those out. Pause. I've had a high time making croissant dough or puff pastry. I don't make croissants. Pause. I am so sorry, okay? You know, the nearest croissants I've made, I bought them from Lidl. That's the tip. Gee, the Lidl fresh croissants are amazing. Who is with me here? I'm not going to die on this hill alone. Join me. Like, that's a tip. No. You know what? Pause. I am so sorry. I'm not super helpful on that note, because even though I'm a baker, I have a specialty and I bake cakes. I love cakes. I love anything cakery. Ask me any question about cakes and I'm sure I can pull you an answer, okay? I can't make a macaron. I think that I can make a macaron, but it's not perfect. And I like to stick with the thing I'm good at, okay? So I can't make bread. I haven't even made a sugar cookie before. There are things I do and there are things I don't do. So the only tip I have to offer you is that a freshly baked croissant from Lidl is all I know. Does that help? I'm keeping it real with you. Look, I'm not here to deceive you or lie to you, honey. Okay? So, if you want, because those are not my area of expertise, I don't even have recommendations of channels that do those for you there is a baking channel on here that specializes in bread. I forgot what his name is. He's Eastern European based in America. Amazing guy. He's if you ask me, I won't remember. If you stick around for long, ask me another time and I'm sure I will remember and I will tell you, okay? Inappropriate laughter. Always overbake, or I try to not overcook and then undercook. What's a reliable way to know? Okay, inappropriate laughter. Okay, let's laugh about this. Well, that's quite an appropriate problem to have if you're a baker, okay? So let's try and fix it for you. So you are either overbaking or underbaking. Where are you located? Because location does matter in terms of accessibility to oven and oven types. So that's why I asked. Which part of the world are you? Are you somewhere in the UK? Because in the UK, we could narrow down to the type of oven you are using, whether you're using a convection fan oven, which is what I have here, or a conventional oven. Okay, so what kind of oven you have? I will bet you have a conventional oven, which has the heat radiating by either coil above the oven or underneath the oven, so the heat is almost static from one source. Is that the case? an electric oven. It's not a fan oven, is it? Because the convection fan oven can still be electric, but it has a fan mechanism at the back of the oven that radiates the heat round. But okay, so I'm correct. You have a convection, you have a conventional electric oven where the heat source is static and rises. Okay, so one thing that will help you, inappropriate laughter. I will say laughter. Inappropriate laughter just seems like a mouthful. So laughter, something that will help you, get yourself an oven thermometer. Oven thermometer, because if you are worried about baking, over baking or under baking, it means you are worried about the temperature of the oven. So first of all, pick yourself an oven thermometer, right? An oven thermometer should be able to read correctly the temperature of your oven, especially with a conventional oven. Your oven may be reading, let's say 325 F, as in 325 Fahrenheit, which is probably about 175 degrees C. Meanwhile, your dial is reading 325 F. Meanwhile, the oven is probably less in actuality. So oven thermometer will correct that problem and actually give you an accurate reading. If you are still worried about baking, under baking and over baking, if you pick yourself the thermometer, another thing you should consider seriously is when you look at your recipe, ensure that the recipe details and bake time is correct, but leave a gap of up to 15 minutes. Okay, so say if the recipe is saying bake at 170 degrees, bring it down to 165. That is 5 degrees short. But the bake time, if it says 40 minutes, leave a 10 to 15 minutes allowance there, which means you are sort of reducing the heat. 5 degrees of heat less won't make a huge difference. So for instance, if your oven is one that seems to run on the hotter side, by kind of reducing it, you've set yourself up on a path where you don't end up over baking. Does that make sense? So look at the recipe you are using closely. Okay, identify the bake time, reduce the baking temperature by 5 to 10 degrees. Whether it's F or C, doesn't matter, about 5 to 10, and increase the bake time by 10 to 15, just so that it can accommodate the adjustment. And then try that for the first time and see how you come along. I hope that kind of helps. Where you place what matters too. I need to place mine in the center. Some don't know to do so. You know what, Chronicles? I disagree politely. That depends on the type of oven. Of course, if you are using a conventional oven, because the heat source is coming, say if you have the coil on the top, if you put the cake on the top, because you have, imagine the heat source is coming directly from one source and it's radiating. So of course, if you put your pans directly underneath the heat source, which is on top, on the top shelf, yes, it will burn. And if you put it on the bottom, it's too far away from the heat source. So naturally, when you place it in the middle, it's almost like the halfway mark. If you're using a conventional fan oven like I am, it doesn't matter where you place it. I've tried it here time and again, and it hasn't made such a huge difference. The only slight difference is that the pan placed on top probably has baked flatter. There's just a slight dome and a flat bake, small difference. But otherwise, the convection fan, the difference is that the convection fan radiates the heat around the oven. So there's more likely to be an even bake for you. Whereas a conventional oven, which has the heat source stable at one place that rises, affects your baking. So it will matter where you place your pan. I hope that slight difference, that slight explanation sort of clarifies my position on the subject. Okay, I'll check out going. Yep. Inappropriate laughter. You're so welcome. did you say I was clear to the point? Half of the time I am sort of going on a tangent and being long-winded. But as long as it's helpful to you, I am so pleased to help, okay? Yes, because you are using a conventional oven, I agree with Chronicles. Yeah, if you have a conventional one, then yes, in the middle. Because if you haven't noticed, I am baking, the pans that are in my oven are 4 inches deep. So these are very deep bakes. And I don't know how I will fare using a conventional oven if I were using, if I was using a conventional oven. So let's say your pan also matters, the quality of your pan. Whilst we're solving the problem, let's get to it. So oven thermometer adjusts your baking time and baking temperature. Also, check placement of your pans, but the type of pan or your type of baking dish matters. Because if you're using, say, a glass that just retains the heat and doesn't spread well, so you'll end up undercooking your bake in the middle. Whereas if you use an anodized pan, you can have even heat radiating around. So quality of pans also makes a huge difference. So it's a combination of things. With baking, I always say no one answer will answer a particular problem. You'll have to kind of look at the various things. So go tinker around with your baking time, your baking temperature, your placement, and the thermometer, and all the things we've discussed here, and see how that serves you. Come back and let us know what results you achieve as well, okay? That's inappropriate laughter. You have a good day, darling. Enjoy your day. It's been great catching you up on this internet street. We'll see you again, okay? And we go back to Chronicles. Look, I went off and answered some whole thing over there. Chronicles, you were saying, so I went off on a tangent, but I never forgot you. So Chronicles, you were saying, you bake everything else but simple bakes like cakes. So I was trying to encourage you to say, it's not a problem if you can bake one thing and not another. It's all fine. As long as you are developing the interest in baking, I gave you the resources to the other channels you can check out. Over here on the live format, I have undertaken bakes where I have taken a recipe and baked it all out from start to finish. It's not edited. The lives are not edited. This is me. I go back into the live to trim out some of the quiet and dull moments, just so that it can make for playback viewing, okay? So if you do go back to the lives, you'll find that some of the videos are more like tutorial based, where I take a particular recipe and then I strip it back and I take you from start to finish. I talk to you about ingredient combination, the technique, the processes, my intention, and then we bake the cake. We go on to do other things, and then we get the cake done, and then you get to see the results live. We don't have substitute bake. So my recommendation for you here will be, check those out too. Chronicles, check those out and see what catches your fancy. It will be a learning resource for you to pick up some useful things to bake, and I hope that is of some use to you, okay? That said, oh God, I wanted us to talk more about some of the baking issues. Like someone said, I've had my own cake business for over a decade and I've delivered many cakes to restaurant venues and clients. This weekend, I am doing a cake for my brother-in-law's 50th birthday at a restaurant. We have a buffet for 50 people in a private room. The venue just told my sister that we are not allowed to take the cake to blow the candles out, and we can't. Oh, okay. The venue just said we are only allowed to take the cake to blow the candles out. We are not allowed to cut the cake there. We are not allowed to consume it on site. I have never heard this before. Is this a common thing? Imagine if wedding venues didn't allow cakes to be consumed. Right. Now, this is a real thing in the business of cakes. Can you imagine taking a cake to a venue and being told that you can only blow out a candle, but you can't eat the cake? But yes, whilst that looks like very unusual, it's actually normal practice, and that is because the venues have to sort of offset themselves against any liability issues for, say, food safety. So if they are not insured for, say, the item that you are bringing, if there are allergies, they cannot be responsible for it. So if you bring your cake, and their staff have to share it, then they are essentially handling food or something that they have no responsibility for, and perhaps their business as a whole is not insured for that particular task. So yes, should businesses be a little more inclusive? Yes, they should, but could they consider their own needs first? Yes, right? So that is a thing. So in this case, what would you do if you were this person? Well, you will be better served finding a venue that has an all-inclusive package to undertake that sort of responsibility. But some businesses also actually do this just because they also don't want to lose out on the desserts, because they think if you are going to bring your own cake to eat on site, then of course they are going to lose out on the patronage of their dessert. So it is neither here nor there. And that is one actual cake related problem or cake related business problem that you can encounter. So if you do encounter that, don't get on your high horse. Try and negotiate with the business. And if you have enough time and they don't back down, perhaps consider a different venue that has an all-inclusive package. An all-inclusive package, so that your cake is attended to. That aside, you know what? It's 11:10. I want the cake to bake, but I have spent the evening talking about cakes. My mouth is dry, my head hurts. So I hope like talking about like the little things you can do as a beginner and answering your cake related questions have been helpful, as well as the cake business dilemmas. I am sure I'll be back here sometime tomorrow talking piping techniques, and perhaps sometimes later in the day discussing the subject of cakes. Okay, as for the bakes that have gone in the oven, I have completed the same exact bakes on previous videos that you will find on the channel. Go check those out. Thanks for your time tonight, and I'll see you in my next video. Chronicles, thank you for being here. All of you, Pause and the rest of you, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.